Happy campers, thanks to the amazing mystifying magic of the Camper Cam, we are about to explore the Mobile Tensaw Delta in its glory, swamps, gators, everything. But first, why don't we check in with our old pal, J. Walter Wallbanger. This is gonna be great.
Well, hey there. As usual, I'm up to my armpits in alligators, but I guess I shouldn't have been trying to drain the swamp in the first place. Speaking of swamps, that reminds me of what I wanted to talk to you about. You know, swamps are amazing places. Thousands of different kinds of plants and animals call the swamp home. But, and it's a big but, since they all live in the same place, they all have to work together. They have to get along, and sometimes they have to help each other out. The trees in a swamp provide oxygen, food, and shade for certain animals that live in the swamp. In return, the animals that use the trees for food and oxygen will give off carbon dioxide, which is exactly what the tree needs to live, thrive, and survive. They all work together. Well, looks like I've got to make like a tree and leave. So, keep plugging. And always remember that you're never too small to think big.
We're back and we're keeping things afloat. As I promised earlier, we are about to take a tour. And here we have Captain Gene.
How are you today, Counselor Carl?
Pretty darn swell.
It's great to have you with us today. We'll have an exciting trip.
I'm tingling with anticipation. Is this the boat here?
This is a boat. This is a U.S. Coast Guard approved passenger touring vessel.
That's comforting to know. Well, without further ado, permission to come aboard, sir?
Permission granted.
Thank you. This is great. The WALABEARs are. Okay.
Please remain seated while the boat's in motion.
Okay. As you can tell,
don't throw anything or anyone overboard.
Okay. As you can
Keep
tell,
your hands inside the boat.
Is ready. Hands inside the boat, WALABEAR, old buddy, old pal. This is gonna be amazing. Capital A, amazing. Looky there. The wonders of nature. Well, Captain Gene, what's our destination?
We're going to go out into the depths of the Mobile Tensaw Delta, which is divided up about equally into saltwater marshes and swamps. So for the first part of our trip, I thought we would tour and spend a little exploring into the swamps themselves of the freshwater system.
Okay, so I guess we're going to maybe pick up a little speed here in a second to get us out there.
All right, here we go. Everybody ready?
Here we go. Hang on to your camp stools. Now, Captain Gene, at this point in the tour, where exactly are we?
We are in what is called Beehive Bayou, which is freshwater, as you can tell by the freshwater turtle that we have coming up on the log over there beside us. We've got about 22 species of turtles, and most of them are basking turtles. That means they come out and sunbathe, so the happy campers will know what that means. Basking turtles.
Do they wear
sunbathe.
sunscreen?
No, they don't have to wear sunscreen. Mother Nature designed them to handle that very well.
That's fantastic. So there are turtles and lots of other creatures out here. What other kind of animals might we run into?
Oh, there's beaver, otter, mink, muskrat, and wild pig, deer, of course, a specific kind of raccoon called a marsh raccoon. It's red and yellow stripes instead of black and white. We'll look around and see if we can find an alligator, which is a king of the Delta.
Holy cow. Are there a lot of alligators out in this neck of the woods?
Yes, there are. This is not the ideal time of the year to find alligators because they kind of go in remission. They rest. See if we can get our... See him? All right. Wait a minute, he's coming.
Wow, so this is Pete the alligator.
Yeah, Pete, I call him Little Pete. Pete's been a friend of mine for about 3 years, and he's about 12 years old. He's 5 feet long. He should be about 6 feet to be that old. You can see that Mother Nature has designed him very well to look like a log floating in the water. Come down here, Pete. Let him show you how you swim. He'll fold his arms and legs all up close to his body and swim by just using the tip of his tail.
That is
Now, of course, yes, well, he's been unchanged. This is a living Jurassic Park here. This has been around unchanged for millions of years. And it's amazing that this animal, with its high specialization, has still lived from the dinosaurs era till the day and age of space travel.
Wow, so in all this living right here at our back door.
Best kept secret in Mobile.
It's fantastic.
Pete, come here, Pete. Come here, Pete. Come, friend. Come on, Pete. Come on, Pete. Come on, Pete. You're getting off camera. Come on, let the happy campers see you. Come here, Pete. Come, Pete. Come, Pete. Come, Pete. Pete's a nice little guy, and people all over the world know him. I have people that's been with me 5 and 6 times. The first thing they ask when they come back is, Pete still come out and visit with him? A very primitive animal. Got about 1/5 or 1/6 the intelligence of a chicken, but enough to train.
It's well meeting you, Pete.
Pete, go and hide before the poachers get you. Let's see if we can get him to go and hide. Go hide, Pete. Go hide.
He follows it. He takes direction.
Go and hide. Go hide, Pete, so the poachers don't get you. Go hide.
Now, what's the difference between a alligator and a crocodile?
Well, first of all, we don't have crocodiles here. That's the first thing. But the biological difference is that the crocodile has a narrower head. That's the first thing that you see. They get overall bigger than alligators do, but they're not in this part of the country. The only place in the United States that we have any crocodiles at all is down at the very tip of Florida. They are very endangered, and we're slowly losing them. We're not gaining ground on them. The American alligator has made a remarkable comeback. Some of your campers may have heard their mothers and fathers talk about all the nutria that were here. They used to be all over the Delta. Well, they tried everywhere in the world to get rid of them, and when the alligator came along and was protected, made such a real good comeback, he ate up all of these strange animals that were not native to
The
him.
nutria, that's kind of related to like a squirrel, sort of, but it's bigger.
It is a rodent, but what it is like is a very large muskrat, and it was imported here from South America, and it is properly called a koi poo. But it was brought here for fur. Ladies didn't want to wear koi poo coats, so they changed their names to nutria.
Ah.
Holy cow, look at that. Captain Gene, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is called Spanish moss. Is that a fair assumption?
That's correct. It is called Spanish moss. It was originally called Spanish beard and Spanish wig. It is an epiphyte, however, not a parasite. It lives off of the air, gets all of its nutrients and its moisture from the air. It is, in fact, in the bromeliad family, the smallest member of the pineapple family.
So it's related to a pineapple?
It is definitely related to a pineapple. If you took one of the little tiny individual plants and looked at it, which thousands of them make up one grape,
That's
it
amazing.
would look like a pineapple plant.
Wow. So now, what exactly is a swamp?
A swamp is a very thin layer of water. Technically, they say there must be cypress trees for it to be a swamp, otherwise it may be a marsh or a bog or something else. But it is a thin layer of water made up of fresh water. Generally has lots of tannic acid in it and a dark color. It looks kind of like tea.
And this, by the classical definition, is officially a swamp.
This is officially a swamp.
Wow.
All of what you see on the surface of this water is a natural phenomenon, pollen and leaves that falls in the water. Nothing to do with pollution.
Wow. Well, we're going to get a little bit closer to nature right after this. And we are back. This looks kind of like a tunnel here, Captain Gene.
Yeah, we call this kind of thing the corkscrew tunnel.
You can't get this
And
kind of
it's aptly named, of course.
right. You can't get this kind of ride at an amusement park. It's
Yeah, this helps explain why Captain Gene doesn't have a top on his boat.
you can't get the full
We
effect.
need to watch overhead here because it's going to get real tight.
Wow.
So we're maneuvering the boat by making it work around the various trees and limbs that are in here because we just barely have enough room for the boat itself, much less maneuvering room. All boats steer from the back, so they don't have wheels in the front like a car does. Driving a boat forward is very similar to backing a car up. So we have to have room for the back end to maneuver to make the front end go where we want it to. So in this case, we don't have that much room. We use the limbs and the trees.
Now it seems kind of like this tunnel just occurred naturally. Is that the case? I mean,
No, it's been helped some. It has to be constantly modified because it's growing and changing all the time. You can also see scars on the trees where the boat actually has to rub against it.
Well, this is all fresh water here.
This is all fresh water.
Now, how old is the entire Delta area here?
They say, according to the University of Alabama's Archaeological and Geological Department, that it is 25 to 26,000 years old and was formed by a geological phenomena that caused all of this central area to sink down. Now, there's no danger of that happening anymore. This is very stable now. But many years ago, this was in a formative state. And it gave us this very unusual inland delta. A delta is where the river meets the ocean of the world. And in Mobile, that doesn't quite happen because Mobile Bay is between the ocean and the freshwater system.
Okay.
So it all occurs north of Mobile Bay.
Well, what's going on now, Captain Gene? Kind of feels like we're backing up here.
Yes, we're maneuvering back out of this swamp so that we can go into another swamp that's more complex than this one is. And we may have to make several attempts at times while we're backing up because of stumps and logs that are underwater. So it will sometimes completely stop us. We'll have to go forward a little bit and try another avenue to go through. So we test other skills. Now watch your fingers.
I wasn't listening.
Very close, very close.
Wow, what a ride. Captain Gene, I understand that you grew up in this neck of the woods.
That's
Is that
right.
correct?
This was my first exposure to swamps, was this very same one that we just came in. And I grew up here learning to fish and hunt and trap in this area. And these kind of places are, of course, very special to us. And we have to try to preserve them and save them for future generations. This one is being saved. This belongs to Chickles Abode Wildlife Refuge. It's under the control of the Mobile County Commission. So most of the wildlife refuges that we know about either belong to the federal government or to the state. This one belongs to Mobile County.
So they kind of, they help out as far as taking care of everything, making sure all the little animals and
Yeah, the
whatnot
animals
here.
are protected. The plants themselves are protected. You can fish in here, and you can camp out in designated areas.
That's fantastic.
It is about 2,040 acres in this one particular swamp that we're in right now. The entire delta is 225,000 acres.
Wow.
So this is under protection of the county here.
That's some fascinating information. And speaking of information, I think we may have an update from Info Bob, almost live from the basement of the Science Building.
Thanks, Carl. Info Bob here, coming to you almost live from the basement of the Science Building, where we have made yet another amazing discovery. Now, the swamp that you are smack dab in the middle of is what is known as a wetland, which by definition is a body of water other than a lake or a river whose soil is saturated with water for an indefinite period of time. Now, sometimes these wetlands can form when the soil is saturated with groundwater. Now, groundwater is, and I quote, groundwater is water that has been absorbed by the soil of the wetland. So, to put this into perspective, Carl, the soil acts like a huge sponge, soaking up all this water. And when that sponge becomes oversaturated, a puddle forms, or in your case, a swamp. I'm Info Bob reporting, almost live from the basement of the Science Building.
This is a Camp WALABEAR special edition of Action News 10.
Good morning, happy campers. I'm Eleanor Reynolds, and this is WALABEAR News. How many times have you heard your folks say, don't tear up your books and don't write in them either, they're precious? Well, because they are so precious, Central Baldwin Middle School held a bargain book extravaganza this week in Loxley. They were trying to raise money to buy new books for the school's library. And what a collection of books they had on sale. 20,000 of them, including children's books, hardcovers, paperbacks, pocket books, travel, art, computer reference, and educational books, all discounted 40 to 80% off their retail price. What a great cause and great way to learn the value of books. How well do you think you could keep up with a basketball game where there was a double for each player on your team? Well, that's what they've got in Chattanooga, Tennessee. 5 sets of identical twins have made that team. There's a set of twin coaches, too. And while playing, sometimes the referee calls on the wrong twin. But it's all for fun and building self-esteem, as these 11 and 12-year-old twins are part of an inner-city basketball program just for that and teaching the children how to be the best in school. Great idea. If you're planning a weekend trip to New Orleans and will be stopping by the New Orleans Aquarium, they've got something new for you there. The 2 bright new stars of the aquarium are these rare sea turtles. They were placed in the big tank with the rest of the marine life for the first time earlier this week. Animal lovers have been attracted to the turtles tank by the hundreds in an effort to see how these rare amphibious creatures adapt to their new world. And that's WALABEAR News for today. I'm Eleanor Reynolds. Thanks for joining us, and remember, study hard, obey your parents, and be kind to one another. Bye-bye.
Back doing the swamp thing, and Captain Gene, I understand you have some more waste well stuff for us right here at this tree.
Yes, and notice these little wounds that are on this tree. They're in perfect little, looks like break here on dotted line, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
This was done by a bird, and if you look closely, I don't know whether our camera can show that or not, but it's little X's where this bird has wounded this tree this way, and again this way, to make an attempt to make the sap in this tree to continue to run out. We got 2 kinds of woodpeckers, one that eats insects, we got others that saps the juice out, sucks the sap out of a tree. The bird that does this is called a yellow-bellied sapsucker.
Nice.
We all think it's a joke, but it's a real bird, important bird.
I should have seen that
Seems
one
to
coming.
do no harm to the tree.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good to know. And
Usually they take it out of trees like maples, This particular one is called a wax myrtle, and the Indians use it for medicinal purposes. So we think probably when the birds use it out of this, that they're also using it
So
for
not only
medicinal purposes.
they're getting dinner, and they may be taking a couple of aspirin for a headache.
There
also.
you go, exactly.
Well, we're going to see something else completely different very quickly, right?
Yes, we're going to go out into the wide open, just a really strange kind of open world of the tidal marshland.
Well, let's kind of make our way towards that, shall we? Hey, Captain Gene, I understand we're on our way to the salt marsh. Is that correct?
That's correct. On our way, we'll be going under several bridges and trestles. And I want the campers to look forward up under the bridge here. We'll see these non-typical kind of bird nests. Non-typical because they're not made out of grass and sticks and straw, but made out of clay. It takes hundreds of trips carrying little tiny BB-sized balls of clay cemented together with the bird's saliva to make these nests. Like the birds that come back from Capistrano, these birds arrive on the same day every year.
And plus, they have a certain knack for ceramics, I guess, huh?
It certainly does seem that way.
Fantastic.
We are about to leave our freshwater system of our Mobile Tensas Delta and head out toward the marshes. Now, understand that most of your time has been used up today, and possibly, if you have the opportunity, you can come back and go with me again next week.
Well,
But I want you to see right here in front of us, if you look to the right, as we see now, we begin to see the swamp change and get open and small and stunted trees. Let's look back to the left if we can. And we see the large trees like we left in our freshwater system. Mother Nature is trying to eliminate here about 2,000 kinds of plants and replace them with specific salt marsh plants. So we're at the dividing line. If you look in front of us, we'll back away from it, kind of let it expand for you. You can see we're at one of those very unique places on Earth where we have a dividing line between the freshwater and the saltwater. Over to the left, you can see a little bit of the sandy beaches, and over to the right, you see the rich topsoil that has come down here for thousands of years, filling in the marshlands of the Delta.
Captain Gene, thank you for that offer, and I think we will take you up on it. So, happy campers, be sure to join us next week for the saltwater part of the tour. Don't forget to write us here at Camp WALABEAR, P.O. Box 1548 in Mobile, Alabama 36633, and tell us exactly what you think. So, happy campers, until next time, see ya!
What's the greatest camp around? Camp WALABEAR, where everyone smiles and no one frowns. Let's all go there. What do we do there? What do we see? I'll see you and you'll see me, and we'll all play so happily at Camp WALABEAR. What's the greatest place to be? Camp WALABEAR. There are places to go and people to see. Let's all go there. What do we do there? What do we see? I'll see you and you'll see me, and we'll all sing so happily at Camp WALABEAR. Camp WALABEAR. Camp WALABEAR.